Well, hello. We're here with Anette Olzon today. So, how are you? It's been a wild
I'm
couple of
fine.
years. So,
Yeah, yeah, but I'm fine, thank you. It's nice to talk to someone in Finland. It's been a while.
so how have these last few weird years been treating you? I heard you took up nursing and
Yeah, it's been quite busy. Since 2014, I started studying to be a registered nurse, and that took some years. And at the same time, I tried to, stay within singing. So I did Tadet Tadet, if you remember. And it made me kind of get a little bit behind. So it took me, instead of 3 years to do nurse, it took me 3.5 years. So yeah, and then I've been working, of course, as a nurse for 3 years now.
great. I hope that's not been too rough in the COVID times.
No, luckily I don't work with COVID patients. Some of the nurses in my department had to go to a COVID, but thankfully the boss didn't push me to do it. I didn't want to, so I've been with only, normal patients.
Well, that's always good. Good that you get a
Yeah.
choice in that, I suppose.
Well, luckily because someone else wanted to go otherwise.
Fair enough. Well, you've got your second solo album coming out right away, and as I understand, it's been since 2014 since you've last done a proper solo release.
Yeah.
What made you decide that now was the time to do another one?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I felt that I've been singing quite a lot now with the Dark Element and other stuff, and felt that I had some thoughts in my head. And at the same time, when I thought about it, the record label sent me an email that shouldn't we do a solo? And I was like, yeah, hey, I was just thinking the same. And the timing was good, actually. I did have time for it. It was last spring with the COVID, and actually it got me a lot of inspiration, of course, with everything that happened in the world. And my father passed away in COVID, so it was a time of course, sadness, and that is always good when you're going to write a metal album with some serious matters. So I took inspiration from it all, COVID and my father and the world and everything.
I'm sorry to hear about your father.
Mm.
So last time you worked with Johan Glosner and Stefan Örn, sorry if I pronounced those wrong.
Yeah, no worries, it's hard.
So what inspired you to work with Magnus Carlsson this time?
Actually, from the beginning, to be honest, the record label put me up with another guy. I don't have to mention some names, but it was a guy from another country. And he started to send me some things, but I felt that it was hard for me we were not on the same page, so to say. So after some months, I sent the record label that I need Magnus. And that was because I knew from Anette Olzon that he can do good songs, and he lives close by to me. It's 1 hour apart. He's Swedish, which is much easier. And I said that it's either him or there's no album. And I got him, and I'm very happy for that.
Incredible.
Hmm.
I just noticed that the names of your solo albums are both 5 letters that start with S, and they're both a very positive sounding word as well. Is that intentional, or was that just a coincidence?
No, it didn't. I didn't think about it like that. Actually, you always normally take the title of the album normally from the singles or the single. That's normal. And I wanted Strong to be the first single. I didn't get that, but it was my choice. It is a COVID song, actually, but in a more positive. Of course, there are things in the lyrics that you can lose your friends and such, but it is a story about to be strong, that we should fight, and we all have to, stay strong in this pandemic. So I thought Strong, and also the other titles are quite long, much longer. Maybe Parasite would have worked, but I also thought that I'm 50 this year when the album is getting out. 50 years old and I am stronger. We get stronger by age, and a lot of things have happened in my life. So I actually feel really strong. So I thought it was really suitable. Perfect.
Incredible.
Hmm.
That sounds great. So you mentioned also in the past that Shine was a very personal album with a lot of light and dark themes. So do you feel that Strong is similar in sort of like a later different part of your life, or do you think it's like a really completely different atmosphere? Of course the styles are quite different, but like thematically.
Yeah, I mean, they are very different. And actually, when I started to write this album, and my husband, who is a metal guy and actually death metal, sorry, he said to me, you can't write, love lyrics or things like that. I'm really sorry, I have to cough a little bit because I have a sore throat here. So
no worries.
I've been quite ill and it's still there. But yeah, so he said, you can't write about these love things, and it need to be much darker and more serious matters. And I was like, oh hell, what am I going to write about? And so of course, there are some personal things, like my father's passing is there with a slow song, but instead, like in Shine, it was a lot about things around me, my bullying in school when I was bullied, and my mother's cancer, and my son's birth, and it was all around me, and that was what I needed to write about that time. But I've done that, so we have moved on. There's not much to say. So this album, of course, has some things about me, but more it's how I view the world. And then I mean, from 2020 in the spring, what happened in the world. There were a lot of political stuff happening in other countries, the environment issues, the world is not in its best place as I see it. There are things that are different from when I was a young kid, and I have children. So of course, when you're 50 and have young children and older, you think about what are we going to leave to them. So, and also there are some things about me, like Catcher of My Dreams is about my nightmares and that I have night terrors. I've had night frights, as you say. I've had it since I was a very young child. I wake up and I'm paralyzed. And this is something I still have, but more in stressful times, but it's really horrible. And so then I thought that I was going to write a song about that. So of course there are some songs, but not as personal as Shine. Maybe 2 or 3 songs or more from me.
Do you find that there's any, well, I guess you kind of already mentioned it, that if there is a general theme, it's about strength and, perseverance, survival, that sort of thing?
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you listen to some of the songs that are, of course, they can be felt as negative and such, there is still a message in them that we can do something, and you can do something, and you can change your situation. Like in Sick of You, it's an abusive relationship. It's not something from my own life, but I see others around me, and we see it all the time, especially now in COVID, with women who are beaten and actually killed. And a lot of it has to do with the pandemic. So that was also something I saw, and I wanted to write the song about that. She now, or he, but more she, has put up with all this shit for many years, and now she's like tossing him out. And I think that is strong, and I hope a lot of women that may listen to the song can get the courage to get out of that kind of relationship, because it is very abusive, and it can also be not physical but mentally abused, that someone is pushing you down. So I think, and Catcher of My Dreams actually is also positive, because you talk about someone is catching your dreams. For me, my husband is my catcher. I can turn to him in the night when I'm scared, and he can comfort me. So
well, you already kind of just answered a bunch of this, but you were talking about some of the stories from the songs, and I was going to ask about some of my favorites, which were I Need to Stay, surprisingly epic song. So is there anything interesting about that one that you could tell?
Well, that is also something that has to do with COVID and from my father's passing. When I wrote it, he had passed. And to be honest, me and my father, we didn't always have a good relationship. He wasn't the best father for me all the time, which is very sad. But this song is about that kind of thing. I thought about him, how he might have thought before he passed away, that some things that you have said maybe to your child or children sometime in the life, like I don't want you, or some parents say that when you came, my life felt like really hard or something. They didn't want their children. And I know people that have heard that too, not only me. And this is like when that parent then know that the death is coming, you're not going to stay here for long, and maybe you feel that you need to have time to say that I didn't mean that, because normally I don't think you mean that, and I'm sorry. So for me, it's a very, very it's a very serious song, and it is epic, and it should be, because it's like, I need to stay, I need to be able to say this, I need to change what I did before I die. So for me, it's a very sad song.
Yeah. And I love the dynamics in it, because it's very, very passionate, very powerful as well. But still, there is a kind of melancholic subject in there.
Yeah, it is. It is very sad if you know the telling behind it.
So what was the creative process like for this release? Did you start with lyrical ideas or melodies, or did Magnus start first, or how did you guys collaborate?
It was very different from which song it was. Fantastic Fanatic, I got it in my head and started singing it in the bathtub one evening. And I had the whole idea in my head with the verse and the chorus and the subject. It's something that I wanted to write a long time, because I have Facebook, I have Instagram, and mainly Facebook. I don't write so much, but I do read what people say. And I think sometimes people vent things there, like you shouldn't eat meat, I'm a vegan, you should do like me, and I don't have anything against people that have an opinion and how they want to live. But I do get disturbed when people tell me how to live my life. And also the environment is really something we need to think about. But a lot of people in Instagram, for instance, like influencers and such, they say they are so environment friendly, and then they sit in the airplane 6 times a year going to get some photos, and I'm sorry, but I get quite irritated and I don't want to vent this in Facebook, so I vent it in my song. So that was my idea. But also there's been, that I said to Magnus, I want to do a song in this kind of like, I like Five Finger Death Punch. So Strong is actually a little bit from that kind of music style. I want this kind of song, and then he starts to do something, and then I do the lyrics, And some ideas has been from him, that he sent me like a music, no melody or anything, just a music kind of piece of verse and chorus. Do you like this? And then I can say, yeah, but I want faster drums there. Or so it's been very different. But we haven't met. We just do it, by internet and files. So it's really, but it's been working very easy, very easy.
Well, it's incredible to think that if this pandemic had hit 10, 20 years ago, like so many albums wouldn't have happened, because now everyone can do everything online. It's wild.
But that's the thing. And I mean, you don't have to see each other, which is of course nice. When you had bands, when I was younger, in 20 years old, you met in the studio, you made all the songs together, you recorded together, you were like, whoa, and that's fun too. But it's very efficient way to make music this kind of way.
So also I noticed, like, as I mentioned briefly, the quite big stylistic difference between this album and your last solo album, which was kind of more pretty and folky almost, like a little more acoustic, and this is much more heavy metal. So how did that turn out? Was it meant to be different from the start, or did it just kind of come out that way? How did it work?
Yeah, and for me, Shine and Strong doesn't have anything to do with each other. First of all, it's so many years between them. It's a different label. And I did Shine when I was in Nightwish, and I couldn't like do a metal album. It didn't feel okay to compete with Nightwish. And I actually did this like a hobby album when I had time. So I have never had the intention to do a second Shine. That was what I did then. And now when I wanted to do an album, of course, I also know that I have fans that really more are into metal and symphonic metal and that kind of style. And also I sing that mostly now, and I like it a lot. So I wanted to do a metal album, just like now I can do whatever I want. And I want to do a metal album. And yeah, that's what I did.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's kind of my main questions about the album itself. Is there anything else kind of interesting or exciting about it that I didn't ask about that you wanted to share?
No, I mean, I've already released 3 songs and I've gotten a lot of good response. A lot of people like the songs and they say that it's, metal, but still very melodic. And they say a lot of ABBA metal, which is always what I want to do, I like ABBA. And no, I just hope that those that are going to buy it and listen know that this is written from the heart, with the style I like. And I've implemented growls because I really like that. And I hope they like it. So they will like 2 or 3 more albums, of course.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I love the addition of the growls. I thought that was really nice detail to add a little flavor in there.
Yeah, and I think, this time it's my husband who growls, and I said that I wanted like 1 song, and then we took another song, and then we were up in 6 songs, and I could have done it in all the songs, but he said, nah, you cannot have it in all the songs, and we also did just tiny parts, but now we know that, and also it was because the record label that I am in has, what I know, never released anything with growls. So I didn't know if they would allow it. But now I know that people like it and it is working. So next album will be a little bit more, in all the songs that you can put it in more parts than just a small part. But that was like a tryout. You have to try things.
It's hard to imagine this would have been your first time collaborating with your husband, but what was it like for this album?
Yeah, but we have been working together before because he's a bass player. So he's been playing with me live with Shine and acoustically too. No, but we're like a good team. We're like really, and he has helped me a lot with some lyrics too. He's really good in English. He's been living there and such. So no, but I didn't actually know how he would sound growling because I've only heard some, records he did when he was very young. And so I just sent him to the studio and said, yeah, hopefully it will be okay. And actually I was really surprised. I think he sounded really aggressive and cool, and I'm really proud of him.
Incredible. I love to see the odd little like family collaboration here and there.
Yeah, I have children that are really talented. So maybe in the next album, I will have Nemo and Mio join me, actually, because they are both playing instruments and singing a lot. So
you could eventually have a whole heavy metal Van Trapp family.
Yeah, of course. Some of the kids actually like hip hop more, but we'll see. That's what kids listen to that today, hip hop and stuff.
My other kind of main question that I wanted to ask as we kind of wrap this up is, you mentioned that you've been bullied a lot, and I've been hearing a lot about a lot of artists standing up against bullying lately, and especially like hearing a lot of more stories about even artists themselves getting kind of actively bullied. You know, there's a lot of haters out there on the internet.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any just straight up advice to people who are getting bullied?
Well, I've been bullied in my childhood, and actually not so many years ago in my adult life. I was a nurse student, and I came to a department to do my internship, and they bullied me. And I was actually at the same time in the local magazine, a big story about Shine or something, I don't remember. So I was kind of in the focus, and I think this was jealousy. You never know. I hadn't done anything, and actually they bullied me so hard, so I cried every day. I went home, and I'm like, 47 years old, and it was like being back in school, and I hadn't done anything. I like in school, it's nothing about you. All I can say is that they should know that it's never about you. It can be jealousy, it can be, that they have a boring life, I don't know, and haters in the internet too. They still hate on me and still write horrible things to me, like you suck. I get those messages all the time in my Insta and such. So what I didn't do was that I stood up for myself in my childhood. It took me many years before I actually took that one girl who was the worst. And yeah, I took her aside and I gave her a lot of beating, actually. And that's nothing I do, but that made it stop. And I'm not saying you should do that, but you really need to go to the principal, to the teachers. You have to do a police. Here in Sweden, you can go to the police because it's actually not, what do you say? Well, it can be a felony to bully someone.
Wow.
And if you're an adult and you're bullied in your workspace, your workplace, just quit. Quit. If you have a boss bullying you, that also happens, just quit. And the haters in the internet, I mean, don't answer them, don't give them your energy, block them. I block everyone. Single comment, it can be sexual, it can be, I block them instantly, and don't read YouTube videos. Don't go and check them. I would do that. I would be crying every day. Yeah. No, but it's horrible. And I think people that are bullying others, either it's children or it's even more horrible when you're an adult, because you should know better. But if you just look in Facebook, you see them, it's like they can be my age and bullying children. So it's horrible. Yeah, but you have to go to someone, and you have to not just let it be, because they will not quit.
Incredible. Well, thank you very much for that. And is there anything else you'd like to say before I let you get back to your studies?
Well, actually, I have one more interview with Finland, but no, I just want to say that I miss Finland. I hope I can come back to Finland soon. It's been a long time now, and we actually lived in Finland for many weeks, so we felt a bit like we were Finnish. But I hope I can be there again, and I hope that everyone will like my album. That's what I hope for.